When my boss took credit for my idea, he didn't even hesitate. I was sitting in the conference room, notebook open, listening as he clicked through a slide deck I'd built from scratch. The structure, the language, even the examples, I recognized every piece because I'd worked on it late at night for weeks. He smiled at the executives and said, "I've been thinking about this approach for a while." I waited for him to say my name. He didn't. At first, I thought it was an accident. Maybe he'd circle back, maybe he was nervous. But as the meeting went on, it became painfully clear he wasn't forgetting me, he was erasing me. Afterward, a coworker leaned over and whispered, "Congrats on the presentation." I just nodded. I didn't confront him. Not then, not later. I didn't send an angry email or complain to HR. I knew how that story usually ended, and it wasn't in favor of the person without power. Instead, I stayed quiet and did something else. I stopped helping, not obviously, not dramatically. I still did my job. I met deadlines. I responded to emails, but I stopped filling in gaps that weren't mine to fill. I stopped rewriting his notes. I stopped explaining his own ideas to him before meetings. A month later, he was invited to present the next phase of the strategy to senior leadership. He asked me the day before, "Can you send me your thoughts on how to expand this?" I smiled and said, "I'm swamped, but you've got this." "It was your idea, right?" He laughed a little awkwardly. "Yeah, of course." The next morning, I wasn't in the room. I was double booked. I watched the meeting recording later. It was painful. He stumbled through the explanation. Couldn't answer basic questions, mixed up timelines, used buzzwords without understanding what they meant. When someone asked how the plan handled a key risk, one I'd personally solved, he paused for so long the silence felt heavy. "I'll have to circle back on that," he said. They asked follow-up questions. He gave vague answers. The confidence he'd had during my presentation was gone. By the end, the room looked unconvinced. 2 days later, my manager's manager asked to meet with me. She didn't accuse, she didn't confront. She asked, "Can you walk me through how you'd approach this project?" So I did, clearly, calmly, with details. At the end, she nodded and said, "That's very different from what we heard." A week after that, the project lead changed. Not announced, not explained, it was just me. My boss never apologized. He avoided eye contact for weeks. Eventually, he transferred to another team. I didn't celebrate. I learned something better. You don't always need to fight for credit. Sometimes, you just need to let someone stand alone with what they claimed was theirs.